Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I am TheAmazingFlec, and today we're going to teach you how to do some head balancing. I guess I don't really know what you would call this. I call it head balancing. Ball balancing on the head, balancing a ball on one's head, whatever you want to call it, this is what I'm going to show you how to do today. Now you might be wondering, why would I want to watch a tutorial on how to balance a ball on top of my head? Wouldn't I just put the ball on top of my head and let go and find a way to balance it? Well, I suppose that's a good answer indeed, for sure. But I think most of this is encouraging you that if you want to learn how to do this, that it's entirely possible. Now, I've been contact juggling since I've been about 15 or 16 years old. And I've seen this done before by other people. And I've tried it and failed, tried it and failed, tried and failed, tried for even hours, and kept failing. And I thought to myself, well, I'll never be able to do that. And it wasn't until I went to this flow festival, Kinetic Fire and Flow Festival, just a couple of years ago, where a kind fellow sat down with me who was also a contact juggler, and he took the time to carefully explain how to learn how to do this. I believe his name was Richard. Richard, if you're watching, hey, thanks very much for teaching me how to do this, and now I'm teaching other people. I hope you don't mind. Oh yeah, before we go further, remember, safety first. Always be aware of your surroundings. A little bit of foresight and a little bit of common sense will go a long way. When you're practicing head balancing like this, don't practice this while you're on a sloped hill. Don't practice this while your cell phone is in your lap, or your favorite cat, or dog, or puppy, or kitten, or gerbil, or any small furry animal you find completely adorable, and you want to keep it in that same shape that it's in. Do not practice this above wherever they're existing around you, because they might not be in that pretty shape that you love so much after it hits them and smashes them, because these things can destroy stuff. They can also destroy tablets, glass tables, they can damage a video game controller, all sorts of stuff. So just eliminate that risk and get rid of everything around you that might be at risk of getting destroyed by practicing this and your inevitable failures that will happen. Because yes, you are going to drop it quite a bit when you're first learning how to do this. It's a part of the learning process. You can't let those drops bother you. You got to keep going forward and trying again and trying again. But most importantly, make every drop into an experiment. When it does drop, ask yourself, why did it drop this time? And then make those micro adjustments until you figure out the way to keep it in one spot on top of your head, comfortably. Anyways, I suppose I was overly complicating the whole process of learning how to do this, and the self-doubt demon creeped in and convinced me that I would never be able to do it because it's too difficult. When in fact, it's the opposite of doing, it's not doing. It's remaining completely receptive and relaxed and allowing to just fall like a dead weight below the ball and support it. It's about remaining completely calm and being able to react accordingly and receptive to where the ball is on top of your head and responding, if you need to, with micro motion movements and moving in the right way. You kind of want to be a pendulum underneath the ball if you're going to move at all, and move like this rather than like this. I hope that makes sense. You got to move underneath it to keep it stable rather than moving this way where the ball would just kind of fall off. If you move this way, then your head can stay underneath the ball and the ball will stay on top of it. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first thing you're going to want to do is to take your hands and touch the top of your head. You want to push down and you want to find any flat spots. Everyone's head has a different cartography to it. Now I'm not talking about phrenology, which is a pseudoscience involving feeling the top of one's head in order to determine personality traits and biological features. It's definitely a thing of the past, but I recommend you look it up if you're interested in medical history and myths surrounding the medical field. But the idea here is to really kind of get in touch with the cartography of the top of your head. Now I've discovered after kind of pressing around that I have a couple of what they call flat spots. I have some off to the side where I have to turn my head this way in order to make it balance and vice versa. But there's a couple of spots right in the middle that are just kind of slightly off center where the ball wants to rest. The spot that comes closest to the center for me is located right around here. And now that I know where it is, I know exactly where to put the ball in order to balance it. And it's become easier and easier over time. Now when I first learned how to do this, I was at the Kinetic Fire and Flow Festival, and I was doing some volunteer time in one particular spot, and I was around a fire. And I had to be there all entire night monitoring that fire, making sure that it was being respected, and that there was no safety issues surrounding it. So I was able to sit there and practice this. And I kept putting it up, and it kept falling off, and it kept falling off, and it kept falling off. And it took like 3 or 4 hours before I actually managed to keep it in one spot for just a couple of seconds. And the excitement that came up from inside me caused it to fall off, and I had to keep trying again and again and again. It wasn't until the next day where I finally got comfortable to keep it in one spot and be able to really like move around a little bit easier while keeping it in one place on top of my head. Now everyone's different, so the learning curve associated with learning something like this is going to be different for every person out there. But if it's something you're interested in doing, I highly recommend trying it, because it's a good, what they call maybe a dynamic meditation, where you can put it on there and you just sit. And that's what you do. And you'll notice that it's currently sitting in one spot that's slightly off to the left of my head. And I have to tilt my head this way just a little bit in order to keep it in one place. I don't know if you can see it, it's very subtle. And there's like a little, like, I'll call it a saucer. So it's a little dip. It's not just a flat, but it's a little dip on top of my head. A little bit off center to the left. If I want to roll the ball all the way to the front right part of it, I can almost, let me try it. I can almost get it. Almost get it to go perfectly flat. My head has to be a little bit off-centered for it to work. I could try doing it on the other side, but it's not as easy on the other side for me because I haven't spent as much time over there. And each location on top of your head will involve a whole different level of practice and learning that area by mental muscle memory, or skin muscle memory, or skin brain memory. I don't know what you would call it, but this is a good way to learn. Anyways, so once you find a flat spot on top of your head, wherever it may be, you want to take that ball and place it right around where you think that area will work out good. I'm going to try putting this one in the center location. So I have the extra flat spot right here, which is really good spot for me. I can move around and do all sorts of stuff. I can even do contact juggling with it. I can do my pediddling if I want while it's balancing there, no problem. And it's a really fun thing to do. I can even ride around on a miniature bicycle while balancing on my head. I've done that before. Pretty cool stuff. If I want it to be perfectly centered, there's a different spot on top of my head where I can move it to, and it poses a whole new level of challenge for me. So this spot's a little more centered. Since we're doing this whole learning experience of the video, I'm going to try learning on the spot that's not easy for me, closer to the front of the head. I have to lift up my chin a little bit more to compensate. And what you want to do is find that flat spot on top of your head, place the ball there in that one spot, and then hold it with your fingers just like this. Now the idea is you're going to slowly let go with one finger at a time until you can let go of all the fingers. And chances are it's going to roll one way or the other, to which case you put your fingers back on the ball and slowly let go until you make micro adjustments, finding that one sweet spot where you can rest that ball to where it doesn't want to roll forward or backwards or left or right or any other of the 360 directions it could roll. And it stays in one spot on top of your head. This is a wonderful shoulder workout, by the way. You'll find if you have to sit there and hold these arms up as long as you need to in order to keep it from falling off top of your head, that you'll find that your arms will get a little fatigued after a while. Here we go. This is a little bit off-centered. It's at a different spot than I'm used to. Can we do it? There we go. So I managed to get that just for maybe a half a second tops in a different location than what I'm traditionally used to using. And that's all it takes. If you can hold it for just a half a second, then you can try holding it for a full second. Then after a full second, it's a matter of holding it to 3. And once you can hold it for a couple seconds, it's a matter of being as calm as possible and really dialing in that feeling that you're experiencing while keeping it balanced in that one location in order to keep it in that one spot. Most of it is not giving up and believing in yourself, and of course being aware of your surroundings and not doing it with a cell phone nearby or with a laptop nearby or even with your favorite cat who is sleeping. Shh. Right. Okay, so we'll put this back on top of our head again and not give up. Find a new location and just kind of slowly let go of your fingers until you figure out how the ball wants to behave. Now, if I shut up talking, maybe I'll have better results. You'll also discover the longer the ball sits in one location, the skin will swell up underneath it, making a little donut or a little swelling of the skin that holds it up in place, helps assist you in keeping it in one place. So the longer you hold the ball in one spot, the easier and easier it will become as the body responds to that by putting blood in that location and swelling up the local area. It doesn't hurt, don't worry. It might look a little red after a while, but there's no pain and there's no permanent damage associated with it. Not that I know of, at least. Anyway. There we go. I think that was about 1 second long. Let's try again. Don't give up, people out there in internet land. You can do it too. The fellow, Richard, who taught me how to do this once again, just told me that it's a matter of really not giving up and believing in yourself, believing that this is something you can do. And for many years, I didn't believe that I could do it. And the funny thing was, is I've teach so many people, thousands, I'm convinced thousands of people how to contact juggle at the Michigan Renaissance Festival. And one of the things I keep telling people is that don't give up, you can do this, just believe in yourself, you can do this, believe in yourself. And these people, they learn how to do it. People who don't believe in themselves and say, oh, I can never do that, I can never do that. The first two things people think when they see contact juggling is, oh, that is just so amazing, is the first thing. And the second thing is I could never learn how to do that. A little bit longer that time. And by thinking those words, I can never learn how to do that, it kind of locks you in a spot where you don't learn how to do it because you automatically assume that it's something you can't do. All right, I'm starting to get this spot. This is a new spot for me, actually. It's a little bit more forward than I'm used to. I'm used to the ones in the back of my head, the back of my head near my soft spot from being an infant. But this one is a lot more centered, actually, looking on the monitor here. And because I'm holding it there for a longer period of time in the one location, I think the skin is starting to swell up and create like a little pillow for it to rest on. And sometimes pushing down on the ball on the top of the head helps your brain recognize where the ball exactly is sitting and where you want it to rest. There we go. Oh, a little bit longer that time. Don't give up. So I don't want to make this video too long, but the point of me showing all of this so far is to really show you that this is a process of a lot of dropping and a lot of mistakes. Like everything I show you here on this channel, you're going to drop, you're going to make mistakes as you learn how to do it. And over time you make less and less mistakes until you get to the point that you're making next to no mistakes and most of your attempts are successful. And every juggler, every magician, every performance artist of all kinds, every flow artist has to make thousands of mistakes before they learn how to do the thing they want to do properly. And that's what makes it so rewarding, is you get past all of those mistakes and you get into the point where you get closer to mastery and flow, and you get into the flow of it and it becomes more and more natural and comfortable for you. And that's where the magic really happens. Okay, so this is a little bit off center from my spot that I'm most comfortable with. Once again, we're going to try this. I'm thinking we're going to get it longer this time. There we go. You see, we're growing a couple seconds each time we do this. All right, one more time. I don't want to bore you forever, but I hope that you're practicing with me. If you have a ball, you should pick up a ball and do this, not just watch this boring video of a guy balancing a ball on top of his head and wondering, what am I doing with my life? It's 3:30 in the morning on a Sunday. I got work in the morning. What am I doing? I don't know what time you're actually watching this, but here we are. Here we are right now. Whatever time it is right now is different for whatever time it is for you right now. Because right now it's Sunday around 9 o'clock p.m. for me. I'm teaching you how to balance a ball in your head. And I'm teaching myself how to balance a ball on my head in a different spot than I'm used to. So thanks for giving me the motivation, viewers back at home. I appreciate it. Don't want to wake up the cat with a rude ball awakening. We're getting there. I'm gonna have to play with that spot. It's a lot more center than what I'm used to doing. Once again, here's the old school spot, which a lot easier for me. My head's a little bit off center. And I've shook hands with this spot and gotten very comfortable with it over the years to the point where I can move around, ride on a bicycle, spin around, go up and down with it. Here, let me show you. So yeah, you see you can move around quite a bit once you get comfortable with your safe spot, your most comfortable spot. It's a matter of like really spending a lot of time with one location on top of your head and getting really cozy with it, and then move to another location and learn that. So contact juggling is all about moving from one point of control to the next point of control. Now with head balancing, you're kind of just staying at one point of control the whole time. And you can call that a stall, which is another word for not doing anything and keeping it one location. So if I'm learning this one location here, and if I keep learning this new one that I learned today, it would be really cool if I can move between the two locations. Now, I'm not sure if this is actually true, but I heard stories about this contact juggler that tattooed a dot on top of his head for each location he learned how to stall on top of his head. And he can go through and connect the dots with a pen, and he can go through and move the ball to all these different locations on top of his head, which is very amusing for anyone watching him if he's sitting on the floor. Like I said, I don't know if that's true, but it'd be really cool to see someone do something like that. But yeah, here we have it. How to balance a ball on top of one's head. It's as simple as it looks, and it's as difficult as it sounds. It takes time, patience, and practice, and believing in yourself in order to learn how to do something like this. It also takes a lot of drops and a lot of mistakes and a lot of maybe cuss words, if that's what you use to express yourself. And that's okay as long as there's no children around or any people you respect who might be offended hearing such words are around. You gotta express yourself, folks. You gotta express yourself. Whoa. Well, here, let's adjust this back to its regular position. And there we have it. Oh, a fun little side story. When I first saw this done by Richard at the Kinetic Fire and Flow Festival, he was wearing a hat or a beanie a lot like I wear. Magical scene transition. And I said to him, wow, that must be a lot easier if you have a hat on, because you can use like the grooves in the hat in order to balance the ball. And he said to me, it's not actually easier. It's easier to do it if you are bald. And he was completely shaven. I was shaven for a while too, but it's easier to learn if you are bald. There's more friction with your bald skin and with a shaven head, and you can feel it better. There's more tactile receptors there in order to feel it. Now, if you have hair, it might be a little bit more difficult to do than if you were completely bald because of the oils in the hair, and it's more likely to want to slide off. Now, I have a little bit of hair, but I've learned how to balance once again in this one spot, so I'm pretty comfortable now with a hat on or with a little bit of hair to keep it in one spot and keep it staying on top of my head. But I thought that would be something interesting to share with everyone. I thought that it was amazing because I figured, well, if you have some sort of covering, you can use it to your advantage in order to keep it on your head, no problem. All right, so let's go over the checklist. Safety first and foremost, always. Make sure that you check out your surroundings and everything's okay and that nothing's at risk of being damaged. Step 2, find a flat spot on top of your head or even flat spots to experiment with. But whenever you find a flat spot and you push down on your skull, find one that's closest to the center you possibly can and find the biggest flat spot you possibly can. And everyone has joints. They have these fixed joints in their skull, and there's like little fissures in their skull. So you're going to have slight imperfections in your skull where you have flat spots in areas where this ball can rest nice and easy. Once you find that spot, place the ball on top of your head, hold it there, roll your skull underneath it until you find that flat spot. Sometimes this helps you find that flat spot by rolling it around. You might find a new spot altogether, like over here, where you can find it, where you can leave it and sit. Hey, a new spot, cool. You can find all sorts of spots on top of your head by rolling it there and keeping it there and holding it still. But you'll find that one spot that works best for you, and that's the spot you really want to focus on first in order to get that confidence level up to learn other spots. And then it's simply a matter of slowly letting go until the ball doesn't want to roll off in any one direction. And then when that happens, just sit there like a dead weight underneath it and relax and just be one with the ball. Yeah, just kidding, but also a little bit serious. Being one with the ball, connecting your body, making the ball an extension of your body. And you'll find that you are kind of at mercy to the ball. You have to do what the ball needs you to do in order for the ball to stay on top of you. Remember that pendulum swinging effect. So if this is the ball here and this is the top of your head, if you're going to be moving around, you have to move in a way that's like this in order to keep the ball from falling off the top of your head. If you move like this, forward and backwards directly without that curve or that pendulum-like swing underneath it, the ball will fall off the top of your head if you apply speed or take speed away in any way. If you're moving flat like this, the ball will just want to keep going. But if you have that pendulum effect, you'll have a nice braking effect to stop the ball from spinning. It's kind of like what you have to do if you're driving a vehicle and someone slams on the brakes and you have to move the cup forward a little bit in order to keep all the fluid inside the cup before it spills. I don't know if you've ever experienced that before, but it's a very similar principle in motion. I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps. Anyways, folks, I've talked your ear off long enough on something as seemingly simple as balancing a ball on top of one's head, which can prove to be quite tricky if you don't have the proper pep talks and encouragements and safety, knowledge, and all that happy horse hoo-ha. So I'd like to thank you all very much for stopping by and tuning into my channel here today and watching this video. If you are interested in learning how to do more circus and flow arts antics, if you check out the playlist section here on my channel entitled Circus and Flow Arts Basics, you can learn how to juggle, or juggle clubs, or juggle scarves, just like that, or contact juggle, just like David Bowie did in the Labyrinth. Pretty cool stuff. Or the fushigi craze, or you can even learn how to spin things on your finger. We call that bediddling in the industry, where you spin something flat on the tip of one's finger. I like spinning books, trays, or even flat pillows. You can even learn how to do the devil sticks right there as well. Just go to my playlist section and click on the Circus and Flow Arts Basics tab, and you can see a list of all the different videos I post every single Sunday for the year of 2021 here on YouTube. Okay everyone, thanks for tuning in once again. I am the Amazing Flec. This is my faithful manager, Lucy the cat. And we'd like to remind you all to never give up, do your best, stay true to you, and as always, be amazing. Thanks for watching, folks, and good night.